So now let us discuss the Indus Waters Treaty, which is in news because of India's suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty after the Pahalgam terror attack by Pakistan supported terrorists. So this is a very important topic, and even otherwise we should know about the Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 and what are its implications and why India has decided to take this step. So this is the Indus basin that we can see in this map, and the basin has 6 rivers including Indus. So we have Indus River, then we have Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj, right? So these 6 rivers, they form the Indus River basin, and these are important for both the countries, India and Pakistan. After India's partition into the 2 new countries, there was this issue between India and Pakistan about the division and sharing of the waters of these rivers. So the negotiations started between both sides, and they were mediated by the World Bank, and finally after around 9 years of negotiation in 1960 in Karachi, the Indus Waters Treaty was signed by General Ayub Khan and Prime Minister Nehru. So this treaty was signed, and the rivers of the basin were divided into eastern rivers and western rivers. Now let us try to understand that what is the issue in Indus Waters Treaty. So Indus Waters Treaty 1960, it was signed in Karachi and mediated by World Bank. World Bank. Now what does this treaty do? So it divides the Indus basin into western rivers and eastern rivers. So we have western rivers and eastern rivers, right? So from exam point of view, we should also know which are the western rivers and which are the eastern rivers. An easy way to remember the western rivers is ICJ. So you remember ICJ, and ICJ we can remember International Court of Justice, right? So remember this, International Court of Justice. So I is for Indus, C is for Chenab, and J is for Jhelum, right? And the eastern rivers, this we can remember as RBS. So R is for Ravi, B is for Beas, and S is for Satluj. So this way the rivers have been divided among India and Pakistan. The eastern river, they were allocated to India, right? 100% or full allocation to India, fully allocated to India. So India can use the waters of these eastern rivers the way it wants. So full rights were given to India for the eastern rivers. For the western rivers, it was said that they will be allocated to Pakistan, but India was also allowed non-consumptive use. Non-consumptive use. So what is the meaning of non-consumptive use? Non-consumptive, that is, India cannot consume the waters of these rivers. That means that the flow of the rivers of the western rivers flow, it should remain constant for Pakistan. It should not diminish. So India cannot store the waters of these western rivers. India cannot divert the water of these rivers from going to Pakistan. That is not allowed. But India can make use of these waters. But overall, the flow to Pakistan should remain constant. So what are the projects that India can actually make? So India can make not storage dams, but run of the river dams. We will see what are run of the river dams which are allowed under this Indus Waters Treaty. Also, on the face of it, it seems that The treaty is in favor of India because eastern rivers fully allocated to India plus western rivers which have been given to Pakistan, India has still been allowed rights over these rivers, as in नॉन कंजम्पटिव यूज इंडिया कर सकता है. तो ऐसा लगता है कि क्या ये ट्रीटी इंडिया के फेवर में है. बट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग हियर इज व्हाट इज द टोटल वाटर फ्लो इन द वेस्टर्न रिवर्स एंड द ईस्टर्न रिवर्स. तो जो इंडस बेसिन का 100% वाटर फ्लो है उसमें से ओनली 20% फ्लो इज इन ईस्टर्न रिवर्स, 80% फ्लो तो वेस्टर्न रिवर्स में. दैट मीन्स द ट्रीटी इज बायस्ड इन फेवर ऑफ पाकिस्तान. So Nehru ji, known for his idealism in foreign policy, and there was this biasness in this treaty towards Pakistan. Also, India is allowed to make run-of-the-river hydroelectric projects. That is, for example, this river is flowing, it's a western river. What India can do, India can divert the water, and then India can make a powerhouse here, then India can have a turbine here, make the water flow fall on the turbine, generate electricity, and then divert the water back to the river. So the river flow to Pakistan remains the same, but we have used we have diverted the water just for our electricity generation, and then the water has been again left in the same river. So these type of projects are known as run of the river hydroelectric projects, and these are allowed under the Indus Waters Treaty. So many such projects India has tried to make, but Pakistan keeps raising objections just to delay Indian projects. So with this we also come to a point that is there a dispute resolution mechanism given under the Indus Waters Treaty? So yes, there is a dispute resolution mechanism also. The dispute resolution mechanism in Indus Waters Treaty is sequential mechanism. That means आपका dispute होगा तो आप पहले step 1 पे जाएंगे, वहाँ भी satisfy नहीं होंगे, step 2 and then step 3 and so on. But Pakistan has been violating this also. So the first step is to approach the Permanent Indus Commission. Permanent Indus Commission, PIC. If one is still dissatisfied, then one can approach World Bank to appoint neutral expert. And if one is still dissatisfied, then one can approach the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which is located at the Hague. Permanent Court of Arbitration. So this is the sequential mechanism, but Pakistan has not been adhering to this. For a recent dispute, Pakistan approached World Bank to appoint the neutral expert. India also joined the process once the neutral expert was appointed. But for the same dispute, while this process was going on, Pakistan also approached the Permanent Court of Arbitration, where also the process got initiated, but India refused to join it. India said no, we will follow the sequential mechanism under IWT. So India was upset with Pakistan for a variety of reasons with respect to Indus Waters Treaty, and even before the Pahalgam incident, India was actually sending multiple notices to Pakistan for review and modification of the treaty. So why India wants a review or modification of the treaty? Right. Reasons for wanting review of the treaty. So first reason is the treaty is not balanced. 80% water flow in the western rivers, which has been allocated to Pakistan. So treaty is not balanced. What can be the other reason? This has to do with Pakistan's support for cross-border terrorism. So Pakistan supporting cross-border terrorism against India. Pakistan not adhering to the sequential dispute resolution mechanism of the treaty. Mechanism under the treaty. Then Pakistan raises objections on Indian projects on western rivers just to delay them. Just to delay them. So that is also something which India does not appreciate. Then another factor is that the treaty is too technical, which leads to differences in interpretation. Too technical. Also, we can say that the treaty is not taking into account the issue of climate change, because of which the demand supply scenario in India and Pakistan has changed. So climate change can be another factor which we can write, but mainly because of this, the Pakistan's attitude and also the unbalanced nature, where 80% flow in western rivers and only 20% flow in eastern rivers. So this is also a serious concern. Now India has decided to withdraw, not decided to withdraw, but suspend the treaty. So what are the implications of that, right? So if India has suspended the treaty, but in case if India takes a strong step and maybe withdraws from the treaty, right? India has not withdrawn, India has just suspended, withdraw nahi kiya hai. But in case India does it, so what can be the pros and cons? On the positive side, maybe Pakistan will be forced to give up its support for terrorism, right, which is very unlikely, but yes, can happen. Also, we will get extra share of water from western rivers, can be used for irrigation in India, in states like Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, etc. And right, so this is also an advantage which can come to India if India goes for this suspension or withdrawal of the treaty. But on the negative side, it can lead to international criticism of India. India has been a very responsible state as far as the Indus Waters Treaty is concerned. India has continued with this treaty even when we have fought 4 wars with Pakistan. तो इसलिए इंडिया का जो रेपुटेशन है वो एज ए रिस्पॉन्सिबल स्टेट इज वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. बट इफ इंडिया डज एनी ऑफ दीज थिंग्स, so it will invite international criticism for India, and it will also hurt India's reputation as a responsible state. Also, we can say that it may also impact World Bank, and World Bank may take legal action against India, right? So World Bank may initiate legal action against India because World Bank is the mediator of this treaty. Another point we can say that if we do this with Pakistan, other countries with which we have water sharing agreement in the region, such as Nepal and Bangladesh, so relations with them can also become tense. So relations with Nepal and Bangladesh can also get tensed because of this. Okay. Lastly, We can also say that China. So China is building a dam on Brahmaputra, and that can also become a problem for India. So China's plans to build a dam, Madok Dam on Brahmaputra. Because China and Pakistan are friends, and China can also, or Pakistan through China can create pressure for India. So these are some of the risks that are associated with the suspension or withdrawal from this treaty, right? And Pakistan has also stated that it will consider any withdrawal from the treaty as an act of war. So it can also lead to hostilities between both sides. Finally, what is Indian government's view on this? That Indian government has clarified that blood and water cannot flow together, and Pakistan has to give up its support for cross-border terrorism, right? So finally, if I sum up what all we need to know from exam point of view about Indus Waters Treaty 1960, so we need to know these basic things. हमें एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इन चीजों को ध्यान में रखना है. सबसे पहले इंडस वाटर्स ट्रीटी 1960 साइन होती है कराची में. इट इज मीडिएटेड बाय वर्ल्ड बैंक. It is signed by Prime Minister Nehru and Pakistani General Ayub Khan. Right. It divides Indus Basin rivers into western rivers and eastern rivers. Right. Western rivers are Indus, Chenab and Jhelum, ICJ. Eastern rivers are Ravi, Beas and Satluj. Right. So in prelims and such competitive exams, हमें इन चीजों से पूछा जा सकता है क्वेश्चन. Another thing that we should know, that is about the rivers and on which projects are coming up. Right. For example, rivers and projects, right? Hydroelectric projects. So for example, the project is Baglihar and it is on Chenab, right? For example, the project is there's the Kishan Ganga, right? Kishan Ganga project, and it is on Jhelum, right? Abhi Salal project was also in news, that is on Chenab. तो ये प्रोजेक्ट्स को भी हमें ध्यान में रखना है. क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड ऑन दिस. सो वी हैव टू नो अबाउट इंडस वाटर्स ट्रीटी, दैट दिस इज अ important treaty between India and Pakistan. Right now India has suspended it because of Pakistan's support to cross-border terrorism. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.